So does Israel control America? To some, that's an obvious question. Of course. To others, oh, that's a terribly anti-Semitic thing to say. You're just picking on poor little Israel. How dare you? Well, let's look at the facts. And new facts have come in today. And I think that the answer is going to be very, very clear. So now, apparently, there's a loyalty test if you're going to get a green card in this country. That is, gives you the ability to be a legal resident here and on your way to being a citizen. Well, of course, Cenk, don't be, you're such a lib. If you want to be an American citizen, you gotta have to have loyalty to America, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's not to America. You have to have loyalty to Israel. You think, I've gotta be exaggerating, that can't be real, right? It is real and reported on by the New York Times. So, they explain, under new guidance issued by the Trump administration, immigrants can now be denied a green card for expressing political opinions, such as participating in pro-Palestinian campus protests, posting criticism of Israel on social media, and desecrating the American flag. According to internal Department of Homeland Security training materials reviewed by the New York Times. So it's Department of Homeland Security, they've seen the documents, it's 100% real. So now notice a couple of things they said. Burning the American flag. Look, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with burning it, but I also don't agree with denying people's ability to do that. The Supreme Court has ruled it free speech. And we should not be blocking people for their political opinions. But at least I understand the rationale. It's not coming out of left field. You could agree or disagree on it, you could debate it, but it's some sort of marker of, are you for or against this country when you're applying to become eventually a citizen of this country through the green card process? Okay, I get it. The other two, why on God's green earth would we care if you're posting on social media criticism of a foreign government? Imagine if instead of Israel, it said, now if you post anti-Bolivian material online, you'll obviously be denied entrance to America. You'd be like, wait, what? Anti-Bolivian? Why do we care what's going on in Bolivia? I mean, the lovely country, I'm not against it. But why is that a litmus test to whether you can get a green card or citizenship in America? People would find that the strange. Imagine if it was Russia or China. You're not allowed to post anything negative about Russia. The whole country would go nuts. The mainstream media would explode. We knew it. Russia, he's serving Putin. He's under the control of Putin. Not only would they say that, they have said that in the past, and we never got anything this crystal clear. But to me, the third one is the most egregious. Forget being against Israel or just criticizing Israel, you no longer have speech rights in America. This is one of many, many stories we've covered. 38 states say you're not allowed to support boycott, divest, and sanction movement against Israel. And if you do, they'll take government contracts away from you and try to ruin your livelihood. It could cost you money, cost you speech. There's so many different laws in this country that prevent you from criticizing one country in particular. Not even America. That's also, of course, unconstitutional. But Israel, now being blocked from criticizing Israel is obviously unconstitutional. We have speech rights to say any damn thing we like about our own country, let alone other countries. But one corrupt politician after another, after, by the way, in every single instance, taking a massive amount of money from the Israeli lobby, whether they're national politicians or they're governors, and then they go, oh, I've gotten millions of dollars from AIPAC. Okay, that's it, you're not allowed to criticize Israel. There's a law in Florida. You're in a lot of trouble if you're criticizing. You have no speech rights in Florida. Bow your head to Israel. And then you show the press, hey, here's how much money Ron DeSantis got from the Israeli lobby. And then the guy does this law and he even signed it in Israel. He signed a law about Florida in Israel. I mean, there's giant blaring neon signs, controlled by Israel, controlled by Israel. But on top of that, in this one, they go, you're not even allowed to be pro-Palestinian. If you're pro another human being, another race or ethnicity that Israel hates and wants to discriminate against, that's it, you're banned. That is insane. That's like the British are a special ally. Of course, we don't give them anything like we give to Israel, and we don't fight all their wars for them. They didn't ask us to attack 7 countries. Anyway, So if we had passed a law saying you have to be more loyal to England, that already would have been super crazy, or UK. But if we said we will ban you from this country if you post anything pro-Irish, justifiably, everybody would have said that is insane. That is exactly and literally what they're doing here. So, but by the way, credit to New York Times for covering it and bringing us this story. Great job, guys. Credit where credit is due. Cable news, guys, just shut up, you anti-Semites. That's it. You should all be canceled, okay? They haven't criticized this at all. Some have written in that Chris Hayes actually has been decent on some of these issues relating to Gaza, Lebanon. All right, I'll exclude Chris from the criticism of every other corrupt cable news actor who obviously also works for Israel and never criticizes them, even though we have preposterous new rules and laws like this. All right, let's continue about what is criticism of Israel. New York Times explains. With the training materials citing as an example of questionable speech. We're supposed to have free speech in this country. We don't give a damn what you think is questionable. Anyway, example of questionable speech, a social media post that declares stop Israeli terror in Palestine and shows the Israeli flag crossed out. But wait, Israel is doing terrorism in Palestine. So now you're banned from saying things that are true if it hurts the feelings of a foreign government. Guys, the people that are in old school, like that watch cable news and have their brain fried and leaking out their ears like Rudy Giuliani and Joe Biden, right? And they're like, Israel is our special ally, we must fillet them. I owe all my money to them, otherwise I'm an anti-Jew hater. I serve Israel loyally. Outside of those guys and the mainstream media anchors themselves, the jury's in. We're not going to be in favor as Americans, either on the left or the right, and especially as independents. We'll be back with the news, but first I want to tell you about something that's made my day a lot easier, and that's Cook Unity. Cook Unity has helped me stay balanced and nourished with my everyday meals, especially when I run the company and I host a show. I have so little time to cook. They're the first meal delivery service bringing you high quality, locally sourced meals from award-winning chefs right to your door. Lately, I've been looking for something to eat between the tons of meetings I have throughout the day. So I recently tried their Mission-style carnitas burrito with salsa verde and Mexican crema. It's peanut-free, high in protein, and has just the right amount of spice. Every meal is handcrafted by chefs and made in local micro kitchens, not large production facilities. Your food arrives fresh, never frozen, in packaging that keeps meals fresh in the fridge for a whole week. There are hundreds of dishes to choose from, and the menu is updated constantly. You also get 7 different dietary preferences: vegan, paleo, pescatarian, gluten-free, dairy-free, and more. Experience chef quality meals every week delivered right to your door. Go to cookunity.com/TYT or enter code TYT before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code TYT or going to cookunity.com/TYT. Oh yes, we should ban everyone's speech and deny them access to this country if they're slightly criticized beloved Israel. That is a mental proposition. Okay, by the way, is there really Israeli terrorism? Are you allowed to say that? Well, now in a lot of ways you're not allowed to say that in America. I say it anyway, and Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump and all of Israel First can kiss my ass, my American ass. And they're like, oh, your American ass has been disloyal to Israel. Israeli ass is more important. That's why Trump and Vance are kissing it. Okay, great. By the way, so is Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. We're a fair show. All right, so Israel has, of course, killed 72,594 people at a minimum in Gaza. They've killed nearly 2,500 in Lebanon, 3,500 in Iran. To be fair, that one is partly us as well. They've killed over 22,800 kids. These are all bare minimum numbers. Verified bodies. They assassinate reporters and kids. American doctors confirming headshots and chest shots to kids under 5 years old. To reporters, they do double taps, which is a hallmark of terrorists. They wait for rescue workers to come in one case in Lebanon, a priest to come in, and then they hit him again to murder all the rescue workers as well. They've destroyed nearly every hospital and school in Gaza, and they are now doing that to Lebanon and Iran. And oh yeah, right, there's sexual violence in their prisons because, again, this is what terrorists do. They rape their victims. So the one guy saying, "I wish for death, sexual violence in Israel's prisons is an organized state policy." That is quoting insiders. And here's some details from that. And sorry, but to subject you to this, but I've got to show you and prove to you how vicious Israel is. And they say we are not allowed to criticize what I'm about to read to you. Okay, one former detainee, a 42-year-old woman from North Gaza, who was held in a notorious Sidi Taiman detention center, said she was bound naked to a metal table and repeatedly raped by 2 masked soldiers over the course of 2 days. Remember when cable news went nuts over maybe sexual assaults? Probably sexual assaults that happened on October 7th. It was very hard to conclusively prove it, but it looked like that might be the case. And they're like, good enough, the most outrageous thing. How many cable news hosts have covered the vicious and systemic rape that Israel does in their gulags to Palestinians over and over again? 0 is the count I have it at, 0. Because when Israel does it, then rape is a good thing, right? Okay, well you say, well look, Cenk, is that just one case? Now look guys, I can give you dozens. And we've covered earlier IDF soldiers saying they can't sleep at night for what they've done to people. And how they were innocent and they did the most vicious terroristic acts to them. But I'll give you one last one. Sorry, it's so graphic, but you should know what monsters these guys are. So to finish up the lady that I was talking about, she recalled that she was left shackled, naked, and bleeding throughout the night before the soldiers returned the next day to continue raping her. And if you thought that was bad, and it is, it's the most horrific thing you could read until you get to Amir. Amir, a 35-year-old Palestinian man, also held at Sidi Taiman. I don't know how to pronounce it, it's okay, it's a freaking gulag run by terrorists. Anyway, recounted how soldiers forced him to strip naked before their dogs urinated on him and then raped him. He described how the dog penetrated me in a trained manner while I was being beaten. So these are the beloved Israelis we're not allowed to criticize. These are the ones that have taken away our First Amendment rights, have ripped up our Constitution and said you must bow to Israel if you're to be allowed in this country, if you're allowed to stay in this country, and even if you're an American citizen, we'll take your contracts away, we'll do punishments on campus. I have American students coming up to me, not foreign students, American students when I was on college campuses and whispering to me, hey, thank you for your critique of Israel. We're not allowed to say it here. They're making lists and making sure that no one who criticizes Israel will get a job after we graduate. We have an Israeli Gestapo that's inside our government, that's inside our media, that's inside the country, that is bullying, intimidating, and ruling us. And this is clear. Look at the government saying, you must bow to Israel if you're to enter America. Okay, how do they justify it? Zach Collar, a spokesman for USCIS, says, if you hate America, you have no business demanding to live in America. Yeah, but what if you want to criticize Israel? Because you didn't mention that. Why didn't he not mention that even though he knows the primary question is about Israel? Because it's indefensible. Go ahead, Israel first. I said it online already, and in social media, the reaction, the pathetic reaction back was like, well, I mean, Israel is so America that really if you criticize Israel, you're criticizing America because we are America. Shut up, you anti-Semite. Stop telling people the truth, make them stop. Yeah, I know, they're trying to make us stop, but it's not gonna work. Abigail Jackson, a White House spokeswoman, said the administration policies had nothing to do with free speech, even though they're literally banning free speech, quote, and were meant to protect American institutions, the safety of citizens, national security, and the freedoms of the United States. No, to be absolutely clear, they are taking away the freedoms of people in the United States so that they are not allowed to criticize Israel, a foreign government. You get it. In the past, the New York Times explains, immigration officers have focused on statements that could incite or encourage violence given concerns about the infringing on constitutionally protected speech, former USCIS officials said. So yeah, that's true. In the past, they would look to see like the flag burning. I don't love that rule. But they could say, well, maybe that means you're going to be violent. We're not looking to block your speech, but if you're going to come into the country and be violent, we can't have that. And that rule makes sense, okay? But here, it's not about violence, it's just about speech, and it's not about America, it's about Israel, okay? And then, so is this surprising from the Trump administration? Look, given that we've given our so-called special ally all these different things, absolutely not. And on top of that, what they've done is now they're slowing green cards down to 50% of what it used to be. Because the Israelis have to check, are they allowed in? Or one day they might vote against Israel, or they might even say something against Israel. No, they're blocked, and they're blocked, and they're blocked. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you who you take into your country, and that's a cut it in half. And they have to be pre-approved by Israel. But Israel doesn't control America. The people saying that Israel doesn't control America are purposely lying to you. I know a lot of them actually mean well and they're ignorant. They've been taught that it's a trope and it can't possibly be true. Even if it's proven to you 200% over, they'll be like, no. I was taught that it was a trope. So if it's a trope, you can't even say it. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to say it. In fact, you're canceled and you should be criticized and you should be banned. No, brother, no. I don't give a damn what you think is tropes. This isn't a trope, this is a fact. So at best, you're ignorant if you don't realize Israel obviously controls America and our government. And at worst, you're maliciously lying to the American people so they don't find out that Israel obviously controls American policy. So now we go back to the reporting. Immigration officers have also been told to scrutinize applicants who encourage anti-Semitism through rhetorical or physical actions. So we already covered physical actions. If you say that you're encouraging anti-Semitism, of course, any criticism of Israel is immediately called anti-Semitic. That's another giant lie by the people who are protecting Israel above all in this country. But and I could prove that's a lie too. 63% of Jewish Americans, 63%, they say they support Israel, but they are against the current Israeli government and their actions. Are they all anti-Semites? According to the US government, yes. Bow your head to Israel. They don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, or Jewish. You must bow your head to that foreign government. So this idea that now rhetorical actions, there are no rhetorical actions. Those are called speech, and they're absolutely protected by our First Amendment, which Israel is trying to burn to the ground, okay? So there is no rhetorical actions against Israel. That's a made up thing to take away our rights, our American rights. Lastly, this pathetic excuse came in from one of the officials. They said, this is so you could, quote, protect your homeland and defend your culture. To which I would ask, which homeland and which culture? Because it looks like the American government is super busy protecting Israel's homeland, both literally, physically. All of our Gulf allies are complaining that we didn't spend any of our missiles defending them. Instead, we spent all of our missiles defending Israel. But also now we are protecting them from dangerous rhetoric against beloved Israel. So whose culture is this? Because this is not American culture. American culture is for freedom of speech and freedom overall and American sovereignty. No, this is Israeli culture, where Israel matters more than every other country in the world. Israelis matter more than every other person in the world, including Americans. And we're the dumb piggy bank. And we're the ones that have to pay for all of their expenses, all of their weapons. We've already given them over $320 billion. They're the size of Papua New Guinea. If we had given Papua New Guinea $320 billion, everyone in the government would have been fired, because what the hell did you do that for? But when it comes to Israel, everybody in the media comes in and goes, you have to do it. You have to do it, otherwise all of America hates Jews. You anti-Semitic trope people, bow to Israel. That's what our stupid mainstream media says. That's what our government says, because we are obviously controlled by Israel. There's no factual dispute at all. All there is Israeli propaganda by the same exact people who I just listed as controlling us on behalf of Israel. But that control is not working. And as you see, the American people like freedom, and this is bothering them, and we should go and change it. And the way you do it, last thing guys, is super important. Whether you take our pledge at notanother.com, or you just have an internal pledge yourself, I don't mind and I don't care. But what I do care about is if these sellout, corrupt politicians continue to send your money that you had to work super hard for over to Israel to murder more people and to take their land, as they're doing in Lebanon right now to both Muslims and Christians. They take money out of your pocket so that they could go steal more land in Gaza and Lebanon and make us go fight their wars and spend $8 trillion on the 7 exact countries they wanted us to attack. We attacked every one of those countries, and mainstream media is like, I can't figure it out. They wanted you to attack 7 countries, and you attacked all 7. And they gave to 94% of Congress. I bet that's a wild coincidence. They gave over $300 million to Trump. They gave to Biden and Hakeem Jeffries and Mike Johnson, and they're the #1 donor to all of them, and Chuck Schumer. But I can't figure it out. I don't know how to follow the money. I'm a reporter. All I know how to do is kiss Israel's ass. That's all they ever taught me. That's right. You're among the people who are trying to control us. But guess what? The American people have news for you. We are uncontrollable. You will not be able to shackle us. We will demand and we will get our freedom back from the Israelis and the people supporting Israel in this country that have been trying to oppress us for much longer than you realize. And we're sick of that oppression. We're sick of the occupation of our government and of Washington, D.C. and of America, and we're gonna end that occupation. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.